Hey friends, what up? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Chavches, Daf 28, Daf Koyach, the strength of Masechta Sukkah. First of all, it's brighter in here, as you might be able to tell, Baruch Hashem, for a few reasons. First of all, this is being recorded in the afternoon, so it's bright in any event, but also, Baruch Hashem, I got new lights, and it's mamish, very bright. It's very nice. And today we are a Gevaldig Daf, Chevra. What do I mean to tell you? Gevaldig Daf. We talk about Rabbi Eliezer. We talk about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. We talk about Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel. Chevra, this is Geschmack. And then we have the Mishnah finally. We've been talking about the Sukkah of Rosh of Rubov Shulchano forever. Here's the source. And also we get into other interesting sugyas as well in relation to that. So friends, let us get started. We are on the second line of Daf Chavches Amud Aleph. There's a story where what's this? Oh, Gevaldig. There was a story where Rabbi Eliezer spent Shabbos in the Upper Galilee. Geschmack. And they asked him 30 halachas. They had 30 kashas. Wow. About Hilchas Sukkah. That's a lot of kashas. Mistama. Shtem eser amar loim shamaiti, shmone asar amar loim lo shamaiti. And his response to 12 of them was, I know the answer. And his response for 18 of them was, I do not know the answer. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda Omer, Chiluf Hadvarim. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda says it's taka the opposite. Shmon asar amar loim shamati, shtem eser amar loim lo shamati. For 18 of them, he said that he knew the answer. For 12 of them, he said that he did not know the answer. Amulo, they said to him, Kol dvarecha einun ela mipi hashmua. 1 second, Rabbi Eliezer, do you only say things that you've heard? You never say anything on your own. Amar loim, he said to them, His kaktuni lomar davar shelo shamaiti mipi rabosai. Fine, if I must, you forced me now to say something that I didn't hear from my rabbis, and here is the following statement that he makes. Miyomai lo kadmani odem beveis hamedrash. Nobody has ever beat me to the Beis HaMedrash in the morning. V'lo yashanti beveis hamedrash lo shenas keva v'lo shenas arai. And I never slept in the Beis HaMedrash any kind of sleep, not permanent sleep, not temporary sleep. I never left anybody in the Beis HaMedrash and left, meaning I was always the last one there. As he said, I was always the first one there. I was also always the last one there. All right, I never left when there was anybody else there, which is very interesting because it also says that he never slept there either. So I guess that means that Memele, nobody else was there when he was sleeping somewhere else. Unless maybe when he left, there was nobody there, and then right after he left, somebody came, and then they were already gone by the time he woke up. I mean, it doesn't say that much, technically. I mean, he could have slept half the day, right? Just that he happened to get there when nobody... Like, what happens if you would, theoretically, I'm going to assume that this isn't the point, but, technically speaking, is there anything here to say that, he didn't sleep 12 hours a day, and just somebody else was, learning the other 12 hours of the day, and when he got there, the other guy was gone, and when he left, the other guy hadn't come yet, so... But, mistama, that's not the point. I'm just saying, technically speaking, it doesn't necessarily prove anything, but I'm likely missing the point. I think the point is that, I'm probably missing the point. Okay, we should probably go weiter. Let's rewind a little bit. Rabbi Eliezer was incredible. He was always the first one in the Beis HaMedrash, and he was always the last one to leave. Okay, Gevaldig. And he says that he also never spoke of silly inyanim. And I never said anything that I didn't hear from my teacher. Gevaldig. Geschmack. Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus. Amazing. They said about Rabbi Eliezer ben Hyrcanus' Rebbe, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. He never spoke, just silly things. He never walked 4 amas below Torah, below tefillin, without learning and without wearing his tefillin. Wasn't there like another, I don't know, forget it, whatever. Nobody ever got to the Beis HaMedrash first before him, which is interesting, because if Rabbi Eliezer was his student, how could both of them never have gotten to the Beis HaMedrash? How could they both have been first? These are interesting shilas, I don't know how much we're supposed to be medayik over here. Anyways, maybe he was at a certain point in his life, or I don't know. And he never slept in the Beis HaMedrash, not a permanent sleep, not a temporary sleep. And he never was thinking Torah in dirty places. Always in appropriate. If it was a place that you shouldn't be thinking Torah, he wasn't thinking Torah. Oh gosh, I have all these shilas. Why am I being such a nudnik? But Lemaise, it says he never walked Daled Amos without Torah. But what if he was 4 Amos deep into a Makomos Amatunafos? So what would he do? He's stuck forever? Because he wouldn't be Mahara Torah there, but he also wouldn't walk 4 Amos without Torah. It's an infinite loop. Oy vavoy, I'm being such a nudnik. Let's go weiter. And he never left anybody else in the Beis HaMedrash and left. He was always the last one in the Beis HaMedrash. Nobody would ever find Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai just sitting and doing nothing and daydreaming. Ella, Yoshev V'shoneh. If he was just sitting somewhere waiting or whatever it was, he wasn't just sitting around doing nothing, he was learning. Nobody else would open the doors for his students. He himself would open the door for his own students. And he never said anything that he, unless he heard it from his Rebbe. And you would never hear Yochanan ben Zakkai say that it's time to leave the Beis HaMedrash, except on Erev Pesach, because there's the Korban Pesach, and to get everything ready. As well as so that and also on Erev Yom Kippur, because you have to eat, you have to do things. And similarly, Rabbi Eliezer, his student, would do like Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Wow, amazing. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Yochanan ben Zakkai, of course, is like the Rebbe of all the Tanaim. He's like the teacher of all the Tanaim. Pretty, to a large extent, were students of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshua, and then you have Rabbi Akiva. Then all the students that come from Rabbi Akiva. In parallel, there was also the lineage of Rabbi Gamliel. Rabbi Gamliel comes from Hillel. We're going to see in a second that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was a student of Hillel. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was a student of Hillel. And Hillel's son was Shimon, whose son was, I think we spoke about this the other day, right? Whose son was Rabbi Gamliel. Hazakin. So then there was that whole lineage coming down to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, coming from there. Amazing. Let's go weiter. Hillel had 80 students. 30 of them were on the level that the divine presence should rest upon them, like Moshe Rabbeinu. 30 of them were on the level that the sun should stay in the sky for them, like Yoshua ben Nun. Esrim Benonim, and there were 20 that were sort of Benoni, like I guess the simple explanation is just like regular, amazing people. Oh my. The greatest of the 80 students was Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel. Wow. The Katan Shebchulim, like the lowest of them, the smallest of them, was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Oh my. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, what did they say about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai? Shleiniach Mikra u'Mishnah, that he didn't leave over any psukim, mishnayis, gemara, halachis, right? Halach l'Moshe Messina, v'agadis, agadis. What was agadis again? Oh, does it not even say what Agadas are? I guess Agadata. What do you want me to tell you? Diktuke Torah were what was it? Lahachmir. Oh, that was like. Oh, wait, no, that's Diktuke Sofrim. So what's Diktuke Torah? Oh, Ribuye Osias Shaban Lidrosh Ben Ribuye Miutim, that kind of stuff. Ribuye Miut. Diktuke Sofrim are like Gezeres Terabanan, Kalim Vachamurim. We know what that is. Kal Vachomer. Ugzeres Shave. Fine. Tkufis, like constellations, Gematrias. Sichas Malach Yashar, Sichas Shadim, Sichas Tikolim. Rashi says he's not sure what these things are. The speech of the angels and the demons and the palm trees. Which one doesn't fit? Mishalos Kovsin, Mishalos Shualim. Okay, I don't know, all sorts of things. What do you want me to tell you? Davargadov Davarkain, big things, small things. What's the big things? Davargadov Maisim Erkava. The story of the chariot in Sefer Yechezkel. Davar Kain, and what's sort of the small things? Havayos Abaye v'Rava. Kilu Pashit, the questions of Abaye and Rava. Like questions in Gemara. L'kayim hashnemer lahanchil ohava yesh, to bequeath to those who love me, or to my loved ones very much. Votzosem amale, and I will fill up their storage houses. So that was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Now, frek the Gemara. Now, if Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who was apparently the Katan Shebekulan, knew mamish everything, Chumash, Mishnah, Gemara, Maisim Kava, everything, and he was the Katan Shebekulan, I can't imagine what was it like to be the Gadol Shebekulan. Says the Gemara. Guess what? They said about Yochanan ben Uziel, the Gadol Shebechulam, when he would sit and he would study Torah, Kol of sheporeach olav miad nisraf. Every bird that was flying above him would be incinerated, because as Rashi says, all the Malachi Asharis were hovering above him, listening in on his Limud Torah, and any of the birds that were flying there would just burn up. Wow. Oh my gosh. Friends, what do you have to say? Nothing. You're speechless, right? Wow. Oh my. Let's go weiter. Sagt der Mishnah, wow, it's so anticlimactic. It says the Mishnah, you have a fellow who was sitting with his head and most of his body in a sukkah v'shulchan b'such habayis, and his table was inside the house. Beishamai posel v'sila machshirin. Beishamai, of course, say posel. Beisila says kosher. We've seen this machlokas since, what was it, the first daf, the second daf? I mean, like very, very beginning of the Masechta. Armuloyim Beisila v'Beishamai. So Beisila says to Beishamai, Lo kachoya ma'isa, wasn't there that incident shalchu ziknei Beishamai v'ziknei Beisila, that the elders of Beishamai and the elders of Beisila went levaker es Rabbi Yochanan Achornis, that they went to visit Rabbi Yochanan Achornis, u'mitzausha yoshev Rosh Ruba b'sukkah v'shulchan b'such habayis, and they saw that Taka Rabbi Yochanan Achornis was sitting, and his head and most of his body was in the sukkah, and his table was in his house. Nobody said anything. So isn't that a proof that we're right? Says Beisila, isn't that a proof that Rosh Ruba b'sukkah v'shulchan b'such habayis is kosher? After all, apparently Rabbi Yochanan Achornis was sitting in a sukkah like that, and nobody said anything. Amuloim Beishamai, so Beishamai says to Beisila, Misham Raya, are you bringing a proof from there? Afe Mamulo, they said to Rabbi Yochanan Achornis, Im kenayisa noilo kiyamtu mitzvah sukkah miyomecha. Rabbi Yochanan Achornis, if this is the sukkah that you sit in every year, you've never in your life been mekayim the mitzvah of sukkah. So it says Beishamai, they mamish, not only did they say something, they were charif. They're very strong in saying that this is apostle sukkah. Women, slaves, and minors are exempt from sitting in the sukkah. A child who no longer needs his mother, he needs to sit in the sukkah, at least midrabanan, as we saw in the sukkah of Hilni Amalka. The Gemara is going to explain what exactly is the definition of a child who doesn't need his mother anymore. It's a Gemara we've seen before. Maisa v'yoda kalaso. Where am I? Fine. There was a story that the daughter-in-law of Shammai, the elder, gave birth to a baby. And he opened up the roof and put schach above the bed of his daughter-in-law so that the new baby will be in the sukkah. The Gemara is going to ask, wait, didn't we just say that a katan at that age would be patur from sukkah? Okay, the Gemara is going to ask. Givaldi. How do we know that women are paturis from sukkah? As the rabbis taught in a brisa, Ezrach ze Ezrach. So when the pasuk says, right, kol Ezrach b'so yeshvu b'sukkos. So when it says Ezrach, that means all citizens of Israel, men, women. Ha Ezrach, when it says the Ezrach, lo tzias anoshim, to exclude women from the mitzvah of sukkah. Kol l'rabos hasaktanim. Then the Brisa says when it says kol ezrach b'Yisrael, it includes children. Now the Gemara is going to ask, wait, didn't we say that in the Mishnah that we exclude children? Okay, fine. Omer Mar. Now we say, 1 second. So we just said ha ezrach l'hotzias anoshim, that when the pasuk says ha ezrach, it's to exclude women. Kilu ezrach would be men and women. Ha ezrach is to exclude women. L'meimer de ezrach ben noshim ben gavri mashma. So does that imply that the word ezrach implies men and women? We learn in the Brisa ha ezrach l'rabos esanoshim ha ezrachios shechayavos be'inui. In the context of Yom Kippur, from the fact that the pasuk says ha ezrach, that includes women in the chiyuv of inui on Yom Kippur. It's like we're back in Masechta Yoma. So over there, apparently, ezrach would only be men, and ha-ezrach is taka including the women. So I don't understand why over here is ha-ezrach excluding women from the chiyuv of sukkah, yet in Yom Kippur it's including the women in the chiyuv of inui. Alma ezrach gavre mashma, implying that ezrach alone means only men, not women also. Omar Rabba says, Rabba hilchasa ninu v'asmachinu rabbanon akrai. Okay, these next two lines are like weird to read, so I'm just going to like read them and kind of like twist them into sense, or at least close enough into sense. So ilchasa ninu. So one of the psukim, one of these two halachas is halacha l'Moshe Sinai, and both of them are asmachtas. What this means is that one of these halachas is halacha l'Moshe Sinai, which means that, meaning, okay, what's the problem? The problem is that I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's like such a technical detail. It's just written in such like a weird way that it just doesn't read smoothly. But the point is that we have two basically conflicting psukim, right? Which is, one is saying that ha-ezrach is including women, the other one's saying that ha-ezrach is excluding women. So like, they can't both be right. Like, there's one mahalach has to be correct and one has to be incorrect. So what we're saying is, well, one of them is actually halacha l'Moshe Sinai, meaning it has nothing to do with the pasuk, and actually, technically, the way that this pasuk is being learned is incorrect, but it's the halacha is halacha because it's halacha l'Moshe Sinai regardless of how we're learning the pasuk. The other one is a din d'Rabbanan, and taka makes sense the way that we learn it it's consistent with how we should be learning it in the pasuk, but it's nonetheless just an asmachta. It's midrabanan, it's an asmachta. Okay, so it says the Gemara. Hilchasa ninu. So one of them is taka halacha l'Moshe Sinai, and therefore it has nothing to do with how we learn the pasuk, and the way that we learn the pasuk is actually incorrect, but the halacha still stands because it's halacha l'Moshe Sinai. And both of them are just relied upon the pasuk anyway. So Kilo, the one that is halacha l'Moshe Sinai that we know regardless of the pasuk is just an asmachta. Anyways, we're basing it on the pasuk. We're not actually learning it from the pasuk, and that's why even though it doesn't make sense, it's okay. It's just an asmachta. And the other one is a din d'Rabbanan. So it's not actually a din d'oraisa. So the fact that we're learning it from a pasuk, even though it actually makes sense to learn it that way, it's nonetheless only a din d'Rabbanan, and the reliance upon the pasuk is not to say it's d'oraisa, it's just an asmachta. Let's move on. So now, hey krave hilchasa. So now the Gemara says 1 second. So which one is the pasuk and which one is the halacha? Right? Which one is the one that's midrabanan and it's an asmachta and they're relying upon the pasuk and expounding it properly? And which is the halacha l'Moshe Sinai that doesn't make sense with the pasuk? Okay, but it's nonetheless halacha because it's halacha l'Moshe Sinai. V'su, and then here we go. Now we can move a little faster. V'su kra lama li hilchasa lama li. Why do we even need to say that like one of them is halacha Moshe Sinai, and one of them is Midor Rabbanon. We know these halachos already. I know that women are p'turos in the mitzvah of sukkah because it's a mitzvah aseh shezman grama, and of course we know mitzvah aseh shezman grama noshim p'turos. Yom Kippurim, and to say that women are chayavos in the Inoy and Yom Kippur, we know that as well. Midav Yehuda Amar Rav Nafka, we know that from Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. The Amar Yehuda Amar Rav v'cheintan dever bishmal Amar Kra. The pasuk says ish o isha. It says in the context of a korban chatos. I believe it's in the context of a korban chatos. That ish o isha, it says man, right, men or women. That men and women are equal when it comes to all onshin, all losaises, and fasting on Yom Kippur is a losais, it's an azhar, and therefore memele women are chayavos. So why do I need the pasuk to teach me that women are p'turos from the sukkah? It's mitzvah aseh shezman grama. Why do I need the pasuk to teach me that? Why do I need something to teach me that women are chayavos in Inu and Yom Kippur? It's an azhar, it's a lav. Of course women are chayavos. Amar Abai says, Abai the olam sukkah ilchasa. Okay, so Abai says, look, lemaise, the halacha l'Moshe Sinai is sukkah. That when we say that women are p'turos from the sukkah, it has nothing to do with the pasuk. It's because it's halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Ve'itzrich, and I need the halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Why don't I just know it from mitzvah aseh shezman grama? Sagadati chamina, because I might think to say that even though yes, in general, Noshim are p'turos for mitzvahs aseh shezman grama, but teishvu kein taduru. We said what? That Chagasukos Sukkos teishvu shivas yom. That you'll dwell in Sukkos for 7 days. Teishvu, you should sit there in kein taduru, in the same way that you live. Madira ish ve'ishta, just like in your house, it's man and wife. Sukkah ish ve'ishta. So I might think that also in your sukkah, man and wife. And therefore women are chayavos in sukkah. Kamash malan, the halacha l'Moshe Sinai, that no women are taka p'turos from sukkah. Rava Amar says, Rava Itzrich, I need the halacha l'Moshe Sinai because sakadati chaminu yolav chamisha asa michag amatzis. I may think to say tesvav, that it says chamisha asar by Pesach and chamisha asar by Sukkos. Malahala noshim chayavos, afkan noshim chayavos. Just like, and therefore I might think to say, just like women are chayavos to eat matzah on the first night of Pesach, so maybe the taka also chayavos in sukkah. So, no, one second. And so also I might think that women would be chayavos in sukkah. Kamash malan comes to teach us that women are taka p'turos from the mitzvah of sukkah. Vashta de Amar sukkah ilchasa kol amali. So then, now that we say that I know that women are p'turos from sukkah, from halacha l'Moshe Sinai, then what do I learn out from the pasuk of Kol ezrach b'Yisrael yeshvu b'sukkos? The rabbis sagerim to include converts. Sagadati chamina, because I may have thought to say ha'ezrach b'Yisrael amar achman avlo sagerim. For some reason, we think that it means that any residents of Israel is included in sukkos, and for I don't know why, but somehow I guess ezrach b'Yisrael would somehow exclude gerim. I'm not sure why. Kamash malan. Therefore, the pasuk teaches us that converts also celebrate Sukkot in a sukkah. Yom Kippurim mid Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Nafka. So we said that we don't need a pasuk to teach me that women are chayavos in Inui on Yom Kippur. I already know that lemaise from the fact that it's a losaise and women are chayavos in mitzvahs aseh women are chayavos in all onshin, right? Hishva isha leish l'chol onshin shabator, right? Women are chayavos for all losaise, including Yom Kippur. Lo nitzach elu l'tosvis inui. So we need it for the addition of inui, right? We said that we add on a shtickle to Yom Kippur, and what we're learning from there is that women are included in that additional shtickle to Yom Kippur as well. Because I may have thought to say, I may have thought to say, well, that extra shtickle that you tack on to Yom Kippur, so we said that you're not chai, you're not over on a lav, you're not, there's no warning, there's no punishment, there's no nothing for that extra shtickle. So yeah, you're supposed to add onto Yom Kippur, but if you don't, then you violate it, you're not chai of anything. So I may have thought to say that women should be turos from that. Kamash Malan, no, women are chayavos from that, for that they should add on a shtickle to Yom Kippur as well. Givaldik. We said earlier, Kol Rabas Saktanim. So we said that when it says Kol Ezach B'Yisrael, that includes minors. Didn't we say that Noshim V'Avadim Ktanim, women, slaves, and youngins are pater from Sukkah? Lokasha, Kan B'Kotin She'Gir L'Chinuch, Kan B'Kotin She'Lo Yigir L'Chinuch. Right? Meaning, our Mishnah said that Ktanim are Pturim from Sukkah. Yet then we had a Brisa that says that Ktanim are Chayovin in Sukkah. What's the deal? So we say it depends. If the child has already reached the age of education, of chinuch, so then he sits in the sukkah. But if he's prior to that age, then he doesn't have a mitzvah of sukkah. So the Gemara says, wait, but a kohen who has reached the age of chinuch, he's only chayiv mitzvahs midrabanan. Yeah, the Brisa seems to be saying he's chayiv midoraisa because it says from the pasuk, kol ezach b'Yisrael. Kol is to include children, so it sounds like midoraisa. And for the Gemara, midrabanan v'kas machta ba'amu. No, these kids that have reached the age of chinuch, they're chayiv in sukkah midrabanan, and that pasuk of kol to include children is midrabanan. It's an asmachta. What's considered a child that no longer needs his mother? Very beautiful. So it says any child who defecates and his mother doesn't need to clean him, so then already he's considered chayiv in mitzvah of sukkah. Alright? Reb Shimon ben Lakish Omer says v'shlakish kol shener mishnasu v'enkori ima. You have a fellow who wakes up in the middle of the night, doesn't call out Ima, doesn't call out to his mother, so then he's already chayiv in the mitzvah of sukkah. Ima gedolim namikar. The Gemara points out that adults also wake up and cry for their mother. So where are we? Ella kol shener ve'enu kor ima. No, an adult who wakes up in the middle of the night and calls for his mother, he just says Ima. But a person who says ima, so then that's a kohen. Ima gadol, ima kohen. Gewaldig. Maise v'yolda kalaso v'chulei. There was a story where, so we said, right, Shammai's daughter-in-law gave birth to a yingel, and he got rid of the roof and put schach above the bed, so that even the little yingel would be in the sukkah. I said this story. The Gemara says, I don't understand. The story is contradicting the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that Ktanim are pater from sukkah, and then we say that Shammai undid his roof and filled it in with schach above the bed, so that the yingel will be in the sukkah. We just said he's pater. So the Mishnah is missing a few words, and this is what it should say. Vishamai machmir, that even though children are pater from sukkah, Shammai was nonetheless stringent. Umaisinami, there was even a story. V'yolda kalasu shel Shammai azaken, the daughter-in-law of Shammai azaken gave birth to a yingel. Ufiches asamazeva v'sikech al hamita b'shvil hakain, and he got rid of the roof and put schach above the bed for the yingel, so that even the little baby will be in a sukkah, because Shammai was machmi here, and he wanted his grandson to be sitting in the sukkah even at when he was just born. Chever, that was the Chav Ches of Masechta Sukkah, and as the gematria of the daf implies, it's a powerful daf. As we say that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was an expert in gematrias, where it's a very basic gematria. Chav Ches is strength, koach. It was a starke daf. So we learned a shtickle about Rabbi Eliezer, who really took after his Rebbe, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, and we talked about Hillel and his 80 students, the greatest of which was Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel, and the Koton Shebekulun. It's hard to say, but that was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Oh my goodness gracious! Then we get into the Mishnah of Mishahai Rosho V'Rubo B'Sukkah V'Shulchan B'Sochabayis. Beis Shammai says that it's apostle sukkah. Beis Hillel says it's a kosher sukkah. We said Noshim V'Avadim Ktanim are pturim from the sukkah. We had an interesting discussion there about Well, isn't it just a mitzvahs aseh she'ezman grama? Abai says, yeah, but I may have had the havmin to say, since it says teishvu ke'in taduru, that you should be in the sukkah like you are in your house, just like in your home, man and wife. So I might think that men and wife and women are both equally chayavin in sukkah. Kamashman da'alach l'moshe misinai, that women are pturos from sukkah. And Ravit says that, well, I may have thought to say tesva of tesva, that just like by Pesach, women are chayavos in achilas matzah. So I may have thought to say that they are chayavos in mitzvah of sukkah. Kamashman da'alach l'moshe misinai, that women are pturos from the mitzvah of sukkah. And we said that women are chayavos in the mitzvah of inui on Yom Kippur. We said, isn't that obvious? Because after all, it's a mitzvah slow saiseh. Women are chayavos mitzvah slow saiseh. So we say this is talking about the shtickle before Yom Kippur that we add on to Yom Kippur, and women are chayavos in that as well. We said that when it comes to a cotton being potter for the mitzvah of sukkah, it depends. If he is prior to the age of chinuch, so then he's potter. If he's after the age of chinuch, so then he's going to be chayav midrabanan. And we said that Shammai Hazakin was machmir, and even his brand new baby grandson, he made sure that he would be sleeping in a sukkah, and he covered the mother's bed with schach and made it into a kosher sukkah. Although it's interesting in terms of what's the nafkaminas for using a bed for a sukkah, which we learned about the other day. Chevre, that was the Avchavches of Masechta Sukkah. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Cheers.